In this episode, let's talk about stress eating, also called emotional eating. It is defined as when you eat in response to emotions rather than a physical sensation of hunger. It's usually a way to cope with stress, anxiety, sadness, boredom, or even excitement. To break it down further, the reason why it happens is that stress triggers the hormone cortisol in our body. It can increase appetite and cravings, especially for sugary, salty, or high fat foods. It can also be a comfort mechanism. Eating releases dopamine, which is the brain's feel good chemical, giving a temporary relief from emotional discomfort. This cycle continues and forms a habit loop. If you have eaten to soothe yourself before, your brain learns to link food with emotional comfort, with pleasure. The signs that you might be stress eating is that you eat suddenly, you eat urgently without much thought. You crave specific comfort foods rather than a balanced meal. You keep eating even when you're full. And following your eating episodes, you're followed by guilt, regret, or you feel sluggish, you feel fatigued, you want to take a nap. Now, let's talk about how to break the cycle of emotional eating. Whenever you feel or you recognize that you are eating in response to soothe yourself, pause and check for hunger signals. Ask yourself, am I really hungry? Am I seeking comfort? And also, as you start paying attention to your emotions, you will start identifying triggers. It will help you keep a quick journal of what situations or emotions spark eating urges. Then you can transition yourself to alternative coping mechanisms or alternative soothing strategies like walking, deep breathing, stretching, listening to music, talking to a friend. To manage emotional eating or stress eating, you have to be proactive about managing stress. Regular exercise, good sleep, mindful practices. It reduces cortisol levels over time and helps you get a control over stress eating. Creating a supportive food environment also helps. Keep tempting trigger foods out of immediate reach. Stock easy, healthy snacks in your fridge and pantry versus the processed foods. A quick trick to recognize in day-to-day life is think of your emotional hunger like a smoke alarm. It's a signal that something's off emotionally, and food is just one possible fire extinguisher. You can choose other options to soothe yourself and to handle your emotions that don't leave a mess behind, that don't leave a feeling of guilt and feeling sluggish afterwards. Stress eating, also called emotional eating, is when you eat in response to emotions rather than a physical sensation of hunger. It's usually a way to cope with stress, anxiety, sadness, boredom, or even excitement. A clear breakdown of it is to understand how it happens and why it happens. Stress triggers the hormone cortisol in our bodies. It can increase appetite, cravings, and especially for sugary, salty, or high-fat foods. It is a comfort mechanism because eating those foods will release dopamine, which is the brain's feel-good chemical. It gives a temporary relief from emotional discomfort. Once our brain recognizes that pattern and associates that with pleasure and comfort, it forms a habit loop. If you've eaten to soothe yourself before, your brain learns to link food with emotional comfort. The signs that you can recognize that you are stress eating are that you eat suddenly, urgently, without much thought. You crave specific comfort foods rather than a balanced meal. You keep thinking of food. You keep eating even when you're full. Your episodes of eating are followed by guilt, regret, or feeling sluggish. You want to take a nap. Now that we have talked about emotional eating and you recognize that there might be a pattern, how do you break the cycle? So when you are eating, pay attention to your emotions. Pay attention to your hunger scale. Pause and ask yourself if you're really hungry or if you're just seeking comfort. Identify the triggers, the emotional triggers. Keep a journal of what situations or emotions spark eating urges or certain cravings. For example, in women, in the PMS, the premenstrual syndrome, the premenstrual phase, you crave sugar, you crave brownies or cupcakes. Recognizing those situations can help you prevent further urges as well. And also finding alternative coping mechanisms or emotional soothers like taking a walk, nature walks, deep breathing, stretching, listening to music, talking to a friend. All of these alternative coping mechanisms can help handle your emotion and not resort to food every time. Managing stress proactively also helps, like regular exercise, good sleep, mindfulness practices like meditation, praying. They all reduce cortisol levels over time and help you reduce the triggers. Creating a supportive food environment at home also helps, like keep tempting trigger foods out of immediate reach. Stock easy and healthy snacks in your refrigerators and in your pantry. For example, I don't buy cookies anymore. I try to have dates or nuts or dark chocolate whenever I am feeling a craving for. I have a bad sweet tooth, so I will go to dark chocolate and nuts to handle those cravings. Another quick mental trick is to think of your emotional hunger like a smoke alarm. You are emotionally distraught. It's a signal that something's off emotionally, and food is just one possible fire extinguisher. You can choose other options and think of it as an extinguisher that won't leave a mess behind.